Well, here at Chasing Cardboard, we firmly believe
It doesn't matter what you think!
Today, as you can see, we're going to talk to this sports card radio versus chasing cardboard nonsense when it comes to this The Rock in-person autograph. Now, I wasn't going to talk to this outside of my involvement in the sports card radio skit, where I joked about some backdoor cards, but the response video from Ty and the comments from him since that video dropped has been so incredibly poor and so, bad that I needed to give my thoughts on the situation, because essentially what he's doing from a changing of narrative perspective, the backtracking, the downplaying, I think is incredibly poor, and I think also highlights a little bit of his true self. And I'll get to my thoughts, a little bit later on. But for those of you that are unaware, essentially this relates to The Rock trading card. It is a Topps card, only worth a few dollars, signed with The Rock auto via an in-person auto. Essentially was listed on their eBay page, which I'll get to in a second. Sold for $66. The person who won this basically reached out to Beckett Authentication Services, who allow you to do, an online assessment. You basically fill out a form, send an email, and you get a response within 24 to 48 hours on whether or not they think the autograph would pass authentication, save you from basically having to mail the item in. BGS said it would likely fail. This person reached back out to Chasing Cardboard, and this is where the issue comes, because the initial response from Ty was quite poor in the messages, and this person also reached out to me, which is the reason why Sports Card Radio wanted to collaborate with me on that original skit. Response was quite poor from Ty and Chasing Cardboard. And then basically what he did next was relist the item. Item was relisted. Sports Card Radio reached out, said, can you give me more information about this card? All of a sudden, Ty said, this card didn't give me the warm and fuzzies, I've taken it down. But since then, his tune has changed a little bit, right? Because he's gone from saying, it didn't give me the warm and fuzzies, to now basically what he's saying in this video. Now, this video opens and talks for about 2.5 minutes on hobby negativity, which I think was really poor. And that set the tone for the rest of the video, right? Because he's talking about things that were unrelated to the issue at hand. The issue here was that you relisted an item after a customer told you that it might not pass Beckett's authentication service based on a statement from Beckett themselves. Right? That's the issue at hand. So you focus in on, hobby negativity to what? Muddy the waters, to try and take eyes away from the, the actual problem. Now, this stems to the sort of bigger problem that I have, because I don't think Ty thinks he's done anything wrong with regards to that. Because when you look at the comments and the things that he's responded to since then on the various posts and the community posts that they made yesterday, I don't think he thinks he did anything wrong. And it goes to a point that he makes later on in the video where he says this.
So we listed those couple of eBay autos, those Dwayne Johnson autos, as non-authenticated. We pointed people back to the episode, and we figured, you know what? We'll just let them end up where they end up, realizing that we're probably not going to get even close to a authenticated price.
And as I'm about to show you, that's not what actually showed up within the listing itself. If I jump over here, you can quickly see that this is the original listing, $66, as I said a bit earlier. On card, rare, auto, it basically says in the title. He basically says it wasn't authenticated. I sold an unauthenticated auto. Okay, you read down here, where does it say that this auto wasn't, authenticated? Now, somebody with common sense should know a little bit better, which is why that customer decided to send this into Beckett for review, right? But where does it say what you just said? Now, when we go ahead and check, the comment section, you can see a person that I responded to, and I'll show you that in a second, where the original comment was, we all make mistakes, blah, 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 but I do feel like these cards should have been authenticated. Now, Ty's response was, this is no mistake. They didn't make a mistake with the listing, apparently. We cannot grade every card we have. We grade up to 100 to 200 cards a month and still not touched half the grade-worthy cards from that specific episode. Blah, 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 blah. My response to him, the same thing I'm going to tell you guys now, is who was talking about grading? We're talking about authentication here. You didn't mention anywhere in that post that this order was not authenticated. And that does not change the fact that when you were given that information, because that could have been a mistake with your listing, right? But a customer told you exactly what Beckett told them. Now, irrespective of whether Beckett is right or wrong, we need to take their word for it in this specific instance, because they are the experts. The common sense step and what a customer would expect of you as an individual, as a store on eBay, is to say, okay, I need to look a little bit deeper into this. I'm going to, reach out to Beckett myself, maybe send a better photo, or I'm going to send it to PSA to see what they say. That should have been your immediate response. The fact that it wasn't is also okay, because maybe you just didn't think. Maybe you just relisted the item just quickly as you cancelled the listing and relisted at the same time. That's an automatic eBay feature. But the fact that you're now doubling down in the comments and saying, no, what you did was right in the first place, that tells me a lot about you, to be honest. I'm going to share my thoughts again in a little bit later on. But there's a statement here that I want to sort of lean into with that, because he says, got to admit, it is hard to claim a card is likely fake from a screenshot from a computer, right? Does the word likely mean we guarantee? Because Beckett's response was it would likely fail to pass the program, right? Or the authentication service. But why is he saying likely, and why is he placing the emphasis on guarantee? Because from his perspective, he's trying to say that the person who got the card signed knows more than Beckett. Like, Beckett, are the experts with regards to this. So you focusing in on those key words rather than you yourself making a mistake, I think it gives a good indication into maybe who Ty is as a person. Now, I don't mean this to defame him in the sense that I'm calling him a scammer or a bad dude. What I'm trying to say is that he might be an emotionally charged person who doesn't like taking accountability, because the commentary we're seeing with regards to that comment, and then also responses to buyers on his eBay page when they leave him neutral or negative feedback, is also sharing that same sort of sentiment. Some of you guys might be saying, well, Daniel, you maybe being too mean towards him because, that response from Sports Card Radio might have irked him a certain way or made him upset, which is why he's commenting how he is. But like I just touched on, it's a trend you're also seeing when it comes to his eBay page. And I'll put some things up on screen right now for you to sort of see for yourself. And I'd say for maybe half the instances, Ty is apologetic and doing the right thing you'd expect from a store. But the other ones just seem to contain, snarky comments, chucking a bit of a hissy fit, getting a bit emotional, not wanting to take accountability, not doing the things you'd expect from a store. And I'll let you read those for yourself. If you want to see them in more detail, go to his eBay page. But these just help build out that understanding a little bit further. When you're seeing stuff like this, feedback opportunities for a store, for a restaurant, for a website are there to win over new customers. Sports Card Radio talked to this in their live yesterday. But the responses like this, where they seem to be emotionally charged, go to the things I just touched on. Like I said, I'm not trying to, defame Ty or anything like that, but this just tells me a little bit more to how he maybe operates as a person. Like, does he need to take the emotion out of the situation? And again, this is not just isolated to the video or to the comments on his eBay page or comment replies, but it also goes to, the lack of accountability that they sort of showed in their original community post. If I jump to that over here, you can see like the wording again used. Then a random dude you don't know takes a screenshot of it and sends it to another random dude over at BGS who says it's not likely to authenticate. Who are you going to trust? Now, this community post is not there anymore, but clearly you're going to trust the people that are paid to do this, the people that have, earned the respect within this industry about doing the things that they can do. Now, we talk badly about PSA and BGS all the time, but, I'm going to trust them a lot more than a guy you bought the card from. And as you can see down here, the optics on the situation are quite poor. The emphasis to place on those certain words that I say in this comment, just build up to that mindset. It's like, Ty, why are you talking like this? Why are you approaching the problem like this? Do you actually think that you didn't do anything wrong? I saw Mike, who, works with Ty when it comes to these kinds of videos and some other content, was talking to the fact that Ty shouldn't have released it in the first place. But me seeing those comments and me seeing how he's responded to other comments and me seeing the comments he's made in that video told me that he probably doesn't think he did a wrong thing by not relisting it. And that's, really upsetting, because I really enjoyed their content. I watch every single episode. Now, they won't care that I'm not going to watch their content anymore. I probably still will watch their content, to be honest. But this is pretty, eye-opening stuff, to be honest. To see, Ty, you get your backup the way that you have and you comment the way that you have to people, and then checking your eBay store and checking the way you respond to your customers. It seems to be that your ego is getting in the way of you being able to think critically when it comes to this sort of stuff. I just think it's, really poor form. And the thing that I also think was quite disappointing within this video is, again, an individual as part of this positivity posse, as I like to call it, where he spent, the first 2.5 minutes of the video talking about negativity. Now, if we play that portion there of him, highlighting who's good for the hobby.
Good, wholesome content.
$50 homage, a t-shirt. Both of those will be mailed to you.
Yeah, you guys are one of the premier card shops in the world.
Well, speaking of the cup and coming in twos, I figure I got...
You're going to see something pretty interesting, because he mentioned slab stocks, right? Slab stocks have a really checkered history. Now, I think it was in 2018 or 2019 where they got accused and found out that they were using their mother's eBay account to sell cards that they were secretly pumping on their platform. Now, everybody deserves a second chance, sure. But you as an individual in a position of power, like you're trying to portray on who is good and who is bad and who you think is good and who is bad, that example right there clearly shows that maybe you're not the best placed person to make that statement. And in reality, I don't think many people are. But the point I'm trying to make is you got these people from a positivity perspective that are trying to tell you, don't listen to these guys, they're haters. And then when they present the information to you, they're doing it through half-truths, right? They're talking out the side of their mouth. You're putting out this video, who's the bad one? You accuse Sports Card Radio in your video, okay, of not disclosing all the information, not disclosing all the information within your DMs, making out the DMs look to be worse than what they actually were. But in your video, you're not talking about a key portion of the problem, which was you relisting the item. So in reality, you're just as bad as them by your own logic. Now, from my perspective, watch who you want to watch, do what you want to do. But don't put people at the start of the video and then get on your high horse and say Sports Card Radio is bad for not disclosing all information. Well, in reality, you did the same thing, mate. So what the heck are you doing here? This is just insane to me. To see you come out with this video the way you have, I think has done far more harm than good. And the problem is, rather than look at the problem on face value and say, okay, well, what could I have done better? Take the emotion out of the situation. What could I have done better? You've gone and pointed the finger at Sports Card Radio. You pointed the finger at Sports Card Dad and others within that watchdog space. It's incredibly poor. Who are you to say they are wrong? Like I said, when you've just done the same thing you're accusing them of. It's just utterly insane. You need to do some self-reflection here, because I forgot to mention, Ty finishes the video talking about the fact that he's going to send it to PSA, get them to authenticate it, and do some sort of giveaway with the viewers. Now, once again, Ty, who really gives a crap? Because that's completely irrelevant to this situation. The problem at hand is not what the outcome is going to be off the back of that PSA authentication. The problem at hand is what your actions were, or inaction was, I should say, when it came to you being notified from that Beckett authentication service likely to fail. Now, irrespective of whether or not it was an image used, they felt comfortable enough to give that opinion that they did. Now, again, it's not an expensive service. You could have just emailed Beckett directly yourself or gone through the PSA service immediately. Now, I often talk on this channel about actions and reactions, right? People make mistakes. You know, that's okay. We can accept that sort of thing. The thing we need to keep front of mind all the time is how people react to certain situations. And like I said a little bit earlier, your reactions ever since this problem, came up, basically just highlights how much we need to grow when it comes to who we put our faith in as viewers and as fans. Now, the same thing could be said about my channel, sure. It is what it is. I stand by my points on this video. They're just my opinions. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.